Waiting for this to go live. It's busy for a Friday night, everybody. So as soon as I get the redirecting to YouTube, we'll get started. Excellent. Here we go. We're live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the GoldFish Report. I'm your host, Louisa. Today is Friday, May 1st, 2020. It's GoldFish Report number 486, and it's week 170 POTUS report, Justice for Abuse of Power. Well, we'll see. There's a lot to report on, folks, and I have some things that I want to screen share. So I'm not going to be hanging around too much in the live chat, but I just want to welcome everybody who comes to the broadcast. So let's get right to it because this is pretty big stuff. I'm going to screen share some clips. I want you to hear Jim Jordan. Actually, I can't screen share that. I'm going to screen share Jim Jordan here talking about what happened with the president. Also happened with General Flynn, which I have been explaining, but everyone's been explaining. I'm not the only one. But in fact, it is the MO that the deep state uses to silence and to eliminate their I guess, enemies as they see it, or their, anyone who is a threat to their power. And it does, happen on every level. It's not just on, the federal level with the really high ups. Short of murdering them, this is you try to destroy their life. So let's take a look at this video here. First, I just want to say hello. Hi, everybody. Nice to see you. There's a lot to talk about, so please stand by. I'm going to screen share this video where Jim Jordan sums this up really well as to what's going on and how this is really a deep state MO when it comes to how they use and abuse the legal system to silence, destroy, and eliminate anyone who's a threat to their power structure. We're talking about the deep state power structure, the shadow government power structure. So let's just take a listen to what it is that Mark Levin has to say. And for some reason, I have to just real quick. I'm not sure why that happened. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I was looking at the live chat, which is a different window. So here we go. Let's take a listen, everybody, because this is pretty important, I have to say. Okay?
Worse than we thought. Remember what happened here, Steve? The FBI in 2016 spies on 2 American citizens associated with the Trump campaign. For one of those citizens, they go to the secret court, the FISA court. They take the now famous dossier. The dossier they knew was salacious and unverified. The dossier that they knew was not true. They used that as the basis to get the warrant to spy on one of these individuals. They don't tell the court that the dossier is Russian disinformation. They don't tell the court that it was paid for by the Clinton campaign. And they don't tell the court the guy who wrote it, Christopher Steele, had already told the Justice Department he was desperate to stop Trump. And now we learn they go after Mike Flynn and set him up just days into the new administration. What I want to know is, why didn't Bob Mueller tell us this? Remember, in May of 2017, when Bob Mueller's named special counsel, we were told this is the greatest guy who's ever come to Washington. This is the greatest thing since sliced bread. He's the most honest guy since George Washington. Why didn't he tell us this? And maybe more importantly, where's Christopher Wray? Why didn't we learn any of this from him? Thank goodness for Sidney Powell and Bill Barr. We would have never got this information.
True. So let me ask you, when you look at these underlying
So, they can't argue with that. They just can't argue with those facts. This is hopefully going to be justice. The president's tweeting, everybody's talking about finally where General Flynn is going to be exonerated. We're still waiting for that to specifically happen. They're still trying to control the narrative, saying, well, he lied. And of course, today, at the press conference today, McEnany, what's her name? The new press secretary, Haley McNanny, or what is her name? Yeah, she did a great job answering the questions from the reporters who were trying to, trick her, trying to set her up, trying to, get her to misstep. But she can't misstep when she's got facts. So, it's an abusive process when, their agenda was to go out and to to set this guy up to lie. So we're talking about General Flynn. And today, as you know, and I've posted this, and we're gonna screen share this in a few minutes. Today is May 1st, and it's the president signed a proclamation today for National Law Day, which is quite ironic, right? National Law Day, which we're supposed to be acknowledging the establishment of our legal system on such a day, right? How ironic. So, hi everybody. You can't hear me. I wonder why you can't hear me. Really? It's all the way up. You guys still having problems with the volume? Wow. Hi Sherry, how you doing? Can you let me know when you do have the volume? If this was all the way up and let's see. Is this plugged in? Yeah. I'm sorry guys. Can you please test this audio to make sure? Can somebody give me a yes? Yes? I can't hear it. Oh my God, I can't imagine what's going on. Interesting. Can you hear me now? Just that video you couldn't hear. That video. Can you hear me now, guys? Okay. No, everything though, the volume was up, guys. I don't really know what was going on. Okay. So let's hope that the next you couldn't hear the video. And I had it very specifically, carefully marked. Let's just continue. I'm going to try another video, and I want you to definitely comment in there, and I'm sure you will. Sorry about that. I don't understand why it's doing that because everything is clicked. I apologize, folks. But when we go live, sometimes we have these problems. So let's listen to what Mark Levin has to say about the Obama administration here. Let's listen to this.
To get to that, but I know I have limited time. I want to say this. Barack Obama is one of the most corrupt presidents in history, certainly in modern history. Barack Obama. It was the Obama FBI that was spying on the Trump campaign. It was the Obama FBI that was spying on Carter Page. It was the Obama FBI that went after Michael Flynn. It was the
There we go. How's that?
It was the Obama FBI that lied to the FISA court. It was the Obama FBI that conspired to trigger the 25th Amendment against the president.
Okay, thank you, guys.
It was the Obama FBI that was leaking. And while you talk about your group, and certainly you and Nate deserve a lot of credit, I came on this network on March 5th as a former chief of staff to an attorney general. And I looked at the leaks, and I knew they were coming from the FBI that were taking place. And I took eight of them, one exhibit after another. And I said, and I meant it, there's espionage going on in this administration against Trump, against his campaign. I didn't have the specifics, but I knew enough to read what was going on. Those leaks were coming from the FBI. And I want the American people to know that one of the problems is, in addition to the most corrupt president in modern history, Obama, we have the most corrupt press in modern history. You want to know why? There are dozens of former Democrats that worked on Capitol Hill, that worked in nonprofit groups, that worked in the Obama and Clinton administrations, who are now so-called news journalists in the media. And they have family members, too. There is an incestuous relationship. I call it the Democrat Party media because that's exactly what it is. And they're covering up for Biden now. When Biden wants to speak, he can barely speak. When Biden wants to speak, who does he talk to? Joe Scarborough? Oh, that'll be a fascinating discussion. Between the two of them, they have a negative IQ of 48. You can have Biden there. You know full well Scarborough's staff and the Biden staff are already coordinating on how he's going to respond and so forth. Hey, tough guy, Biden, you're always calling out the president. You're going to take him behind the schoolhouse. How about you stand up straight like a man in front of a camera, take questions for 30 or 40 minutes. The president does it for 90 minutes at a time. You were accused of sexual assault. In some states, what you're accused of doing is called rape. This is a very, very serious matter. So defend yourself like a man. Speak out. Don't put out statements. But the press will defend him. Why? Because the press is corrupt. Also, Sean, I want to circle back to Mr. Cuomo. Mr. Cuomo, you put out a policy on March 25th. Nursing home administrators.
Let me tell you, folks, he's mad. He is really mad, and rightfully so. Everybody can hear the volume, not your volume. Volume on the no, the volume on everything is completely I have no idea why, folks. Everything is turned up. I mean, this is the craziest thing. I don't understand. I must be something's going on. Everything is on and turned up as it usually is. So I do apologize. I just don't know what the heck's going on. But hey, let's move along, okay? So why don't we go ahead and start? We're going to this is a POTUS report for April 25th to May 1st. So let's go ahead and I'll screen share this. Can you let me know if you can hear my volume okay? I guess I won't screen share another stream because another video because it just doesn't look like it's a hearing aid. Okay, can you just give me a thumbs up or give me a yes as you can hear my sound okay? Yeah, there's no reason why that should have been happening. It's very, very strange. Oh, I see what was going. Yeah, I don't know what was going on there, to be honest with you. Yeah, they don't. They don't like me tonight, I suppose, right? I just need to know that you guys can hear me okay. Can you just let me know that my volume is all right? Just you are loud and clear. All right, thank you, MLV. I appreciate it. Okay, so let's move along. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate that. Let's move along then, okay? So I do apologize for that. I don't know, what's how that could happen really because everything was adjusted. So let's move along. So look, these are the stories last Sunday, okay, that the president didn't want you to miss. This was about Trump signing the coronavirus bill, reviving funds for small business loans. Um, I still think that it's taking quite a long time. Some people are getting that. Some people are not quite getting it yet. So we'll see what happens. In terms of this coronavirus, this was now a week ago. So, I'm not going to spend too much time on older news, but they, obviously have been doing daily briefings and whatever regarding this. So after nearly 4 years of unrelieved Trump hysteria in the media, it's hard to rank the worst journalistic outrages rather. So Rick Lowry writes, but how the press misreported the story of America's ventilator stockpile belongs high on the list. Last year, America produced 30,000 ventilators. This year, it will be about 200,000, and they're already coming in. So, we're replenishing our own stockpile and we're providing all of these resources for hospitals, which I'll get to screen sharing another image in a minute, because something doesn't seem quite right about this, right? So on Monday, on the political theater report that I did with Jim Fetzer, we were really referring to it as a scamdemic because sure, there's a serious strain of a flu out there which is treatable by several products that are now being discussed in the media, but it seems like, and today, oh my goodness, in Brooklyn, there was like a truck full of dead, decomposing bodies. What is this all about? This problem is, folks, when you give hospitals financial incentive you know, to mark every death as a COVID death and you get government funds for that, there's going to be corruption. And I mark my words, folks, there's going to be an investigation into this. These people are going to be exposed. We have to find out who those bodies are. you know, unbelievable to think that maybe your loved one or, a friend or somebody that who knows who they are. Maybe they were homeless people. Maybe nobody's going to come and claim their body. Maybe that's why they did that. Who knows? But it's something that we all need to be very concerned about, right? So here we know that the president suspended immigration over coronavirus, and that he feels that it will protect our health, jobs, and wages. And this was referring to, let's just see, President Trump is acting properly and justifiably to temporarily suspend immigration to the U.S. for at least 60 days in the face of the coronavirus pandemic. Former acting director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement Thomas Homan writes, the left cannot continue to demand social distancing and delaying the return to work for some, while at the same time supporting more people coming to the U.S. now. Look, folks, we can go to Home Depot, we can go to the supermarket, we can go to the liquor store, we can go for social distancing. Open it up already. Where's our own responsibility and our free will and our own risk that we decide to take? So I have an image. Before I continue, I have an image that I want to screen share, which I think which I think sums this up pretty well. So let me screen share this image. Good thing it doesn't have sound. And I think this is where we're at, right? Gestapo mandate. Everybody has to. You can't walk into a store in New Jersey, and probably New York as well, without a face mask. Forget about your hands. You can touch anything you want, but you have to have a face mask on, which is almost kind of fine because, then maybe they don't track your facial recognition as much, maybe you have some privacy left, but it's a pain. It's a pain to keep putting it on because you can't breathe. You wear glasses, you fog them up. It's really a pain. It's an inconvenience. But, I will take my own risk if I'm going to go out. And we're staying home. We're social distancing. We're doing all these things, right? And since when did they care about our health really anyway? Honestly. So that kind of sums it up pretty well, I have to say. Let me go back to the reporting here. Let me just check in with my live chat. Phase 1 of their plan, exactly. Look, I mean, arresting moms at the parks, arresting pastors at churches. This is okay. Thanks, Pat. Yeah, this is really crazy. It's just another. Hi, Adam. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me. I apologize for having a difficulty with the volume on those videos. We'll try to avoid that. Yeah, tell me about it. Moving out of the area is definitely a good idea. We can seem to go. It's okay to go to the liquor store. It's okay to go to the supermarket. That's okay. You won't transmit coronavirus there, but you definitely can transmit it at a park or at a beach. Now that's just unacceptable, isn't it? Folks, this is so unreasonable and so ridiculous. This is far beyond George Orwell. This is far beyond, 1984. But we're allowing it. We're allowing it in the name of, safety. It's always got to have some excuse, right? Name of safety. But we can go to the supermarket. Not a problem. Just stand 6 feet apart, right? Press conferences, everybody's 6 feet apart. Oh, you can go on airlines now. Just forget that middle seat. Because that's the only air you breathe when you're sitting there anyway, right? It's the only air you breathe. Yeah, exactly. This is really, folks, I don't know, man. But what I do have to say is this. I'm really, really happy. I'm really happy about what some people are doing. Yeah, and be careful about taking these tests, folks. There is some rumor that the virus is on these tests. Just be really careful. Really, really careful. Let me just go to let me screen share. I'm going to try this again. Let me know if you can hear it, guys, because here's Kayleigh McEnany, the new press secretary. Okay, here's our Twitter page, and let's hear what she has to say. Can you please tell me if you can hear this?
That Flynn lied to the vice president and also lied to the FBI. If you remove the FBI piece of that, would the president still have fired Michael Flynn for his belief that he had lied at that point to the vice president?
I mean, I'm not going to engage in a hypothetical, and that's essentially what that would be. But what I would say is echo yet again that this was a grave miscarriage of justice. I am very glad that the FBI thought to keep a paper trail, because what many have said for a very long time, pointing to the first few facts I shared with you, culminating in that handwritten note, I'm glad they kept such good documentation of their intent to slow walk General Flynn into a trap and to essentially create, as I mentioned, a grave miscarriage of justice. So FBI, at least we can thank you for the great note-taking.
Let me follow up on that, though. John does bring up the point that General Flynn pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI.
You got to listen to this.
I'm not going to get involved in what was a matter of
justice.
Do you not consider it a miscarriage of justice when you have the FBI writing, "We want to get someone to lie"?
Yeah.
Is that a miscarriage of justice?
But in the end, he pleaded guilty, and that's...
You hesitated because you know what the answer is. The answer is yes.
A lot of other people to
and I would
decide.
encourage the media to cover it. because I've watched a lot of your networks, I've read a lot of your papers, I've seen a whole lot of scant information about Michael Flynn when there was a whole lot of speculation about Russia, 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 culminating in $40 million of taxpayer money being lost and the complete and total exoneration of President Trump.
Right, and that's where this is all going. That's where this is all going. Let me just show you, and here's this other drug, remdesivir, which is being granted by the FDA for the treatment of COVID, in addition to the hydroxychloroquine. And here you have Elon Musk, who's actually saying, you know, this is ridiculous, profanity-laced rant about fascist COVID-19 lockdowns. Give people back their freedom. Their expletive freedom. The True Pundit was reporting that. And it's interesting how Elon Musk is weighing in on this. And this is just bizarre, folks. Look, you have to listen to this. You know, if it's this bad, right, then why are these medical personnel, if we're so overwhelmed with death and all of this, what's going on?
Level up, level up, level up, level up. People. Big, big booty, what you got a big booty. Big, big booty, what you got a big booty. People. You're on the front line, everyone's watching.
Right foot, now left foot. Hey. Right foot, now left foot. Do your dance, do your dance.
It's 1 hour into my shift, time for me to make another TikTok of myself dancing.
Help me, I'm dying.
Jesus fucking Christ, can't we even have a pandemic without getting offended?
I have the coronavirus, that's why I don't have a voice. So clean the mic after this or you will get it.
Am I still out traveling the world? Yes. Am I still shaking hands? Yes. Am I still cuddling fans at the airport? Yes. Has my life changed? No. Am I going to let some disease, COVID-19?
Yeah, I just need to stop and check and make sure you guys can hear this, because I was screen sharing more sound. Was it okay? Was it okay? It is ridiculous, but it's showing something's clearly wrong here. Isn't that right? Something's clearly wrong. Let's go back to the Twitter. I'm telling you, I have this all over Twitter on the GoldFish Report Twitter page. It's all over the Twitter page. Let's finish watching how ridiculous this is.
Dictate my life. Absolutely not. Get out there. Don't change. Fuck COVID-19.
Breaking news. Mark Zuckerberg has tested positive for coronavirus. Shit. Get well soon, Mark.
There's very little threat here. This disease, even if you were to get it, basically acts like a common cold or flu.
Women under quarantine.
You need Jesus.
Women under quarantine.
Okay. I mean, you know, it's ridiculous. I know it is, but this is showing the absurdity of all this. Patriots out there are saying put the flag out for Flynn, so let's do that. You know, and then you have Bill de Blasio saying how it's so bad, you know, that people will be fined. And if you're out in the street in New York City, and he and his wife are taking a walk through, actually with a accompanied, you know, entourage, an escort, going through for a walk through Brooklyn, a park in Brooklyn. It's probably Prospect Park. And, you know, it's just complete hypocrisy politics, right? And this is great. I want to share this because this shows, you know, how great this is. A GIF, and the Trump page was Benny Johnson shared this. This is Kylie McEnany walking into the briefing room today. Yeah, She did a great job. I'm proud of her. But what I wanted to screen share was here we have, Huntington Beach, California. Let's take a listen to what they're saying. Horns. But the point is that people are out protesting, and they're protesting over in Michigan as well. They're protesting in so many cities across the country and so many states because it's, the people are standing up for our freedom. We can't allow a virus, the fear of a virus, to take away our rights. And, people are posting about this on social media. It's all over the place, right? And, if you go through now, we have the White House has blocked Dr. Fauci from testifying about the response to coronavirus before the House Appropriations Committee. Now, this is a big deal because, there would be a lot of questions about what he knew, when he knew it, and this might reveal, this might be a bombshell. But I think it's probably because we're still dealing with it, and until this has subsided and we've leveled out and peaked off for right now, I don't really see that that it's done yet. So Fauci's, I think, kind of given a chance to kind of straighten up, ship up or ship out kind of thing. So very interesting today. Forget about Joe Biden. You can't even understand anything he's saying, so just have to keep going. We've got a lot of great news releases all week. I can't really get into all of them, but you have the lead attorney for General Flynn, evidence uncovered that shows he's innocent. And of course, and she's an amazing attorney, actually. You know that we are meme friendly on the GoldFish Report. So we do post some memes from different patriots. So it's wonderful to share those things. But I wanted to screen share. I think I had another video of here we are, protests against Michigan's governor's lockdown. So it is, it's very serious. I mean, thank God, people are standing up. This is not justified. This is not okay. It doesn't say in the Constitution that we can suspend our constitutional rights because of fear of catching a virus. Does it? Does it say that anywhere? Oh my goodness, what we allow them to do to us. It's amazing. It's amazing what we allow. And then, of course, you have Project Veritas, James O'Keefe, who does his heavy lifting work. Listen to what's going on with the funeral homes.
To be honest with you, all of the death certificates they're writing COVID on, all of the death certificates, whether they had a positive test, whether they didn't. So I think, again, this is my personal opinion. I think, like the mayor in our city, they're looking for federal funding, and the more they put COVID on a death certificate, the more they can ask for federal funds. So I think it's political. So I'm going to turn around and say, not everybody that we have here that has COVID on a death certificate died of COVID. Can I prove that? No, but that is my suspicion.
So you think that they're just putting it on everyone who's dying?
They're putting it on everybody's death certificate to make life easier for them, because the causes of death get proved right away. If you write COVID, I mean, listen, they're just pushing things out because they're overwhelmed, and it's just easier to write COVID on everything. That's my opinion.
So this isn't we're not the first case of this happening.
Oh, absolutely not.
How often do you think this has happened?
Quite a lot. Quite a lot.
So you've seen
I couldn't give you a number, but quite a lot.
Okay, so there you have it. So for people who are passing away, we're obviously, like the gentleman said, the funeral director said that they're writing the COVID on the death certificate because they get more federal funding that way. And what are the states? What are the states with the most number of cases, right? New York and New Jersey. So how interesting. And this is what Mark Levin started to talk about before that I stopped the clip because I didn't want to go into another topic yet, but that he was talking about. But this is what he was talking about with regard to Governor Cuomo, and of course the whole we're going to accept, the elderly into nursing homes, whether they have COVID or whether there's a COVID outbreak there or not, or whatever, knowing that that's the most vulnerable population for, for fatality, mortality rate with the COVID illness. So he's talking out of his ass. And, you just have to hold politicians accountable. Enough of this. We got to stop electing these people into office. Now, look, the people who are Democrats, you have to start waking up, and you really have to stop being so loyal to a party that is trying to exterminate you and your family. They're not there to help you. So come over, walk across the bridge. We'll embrace you. We won't hold anything against you. We want you to realize that you're being had, and you're being led, to the slaughterhouse, basically. So that's enough of that. Here we have the conservative treehouse reporting additional 11 pages of FBI documents unsealed. Biggest surprise, President Obama implicated. It's not a surprise. GoldFish Report reported this a long time ago. Yeah. Here's another meme of the day, which you'll like. Catherine Austin Fitz. I retweeted her tweet. New crop circle reveals source of the virus. What does that look like to you? Exactly. Oh, this is davidike.com. Very funny. Okay. So, we can appreciate some humor once in a while, right? Baltimore police now recording all citizens with full-time aerial cameras, folks. Well, here we are. Nate Kane, that's his post. He, is a FBI whistleblower, right? And had same thing, raids to his house and all this other stuff. This is just their MO, right? They're not trying to find the truth. So here we go, right? Here's another one. Meanwhile, what's with the butt dancing? I don't get it, really. Booty dancing or whatever. I don't have, there's no volume on this video, just so you know. But you can see what they're doing. Pole dancing. This is crazy. Yeah, this is crazy, folks. It's a joke. The heck is going on? Working for hazard pay. Yeah, showing up for work. This is what they're doing. Look, folks, we need to, if you haven't gotten your economic impact payment, go to irs.gov and click on Get My Payment and find out how you can expedite this or how you can get this moving along. And here you have the president talking about protecting America's seniors. And we're going to talk about this. I'm sharing some clips first because I like to get the president's own quotes and because I can. So let's hear what the president has to say about the seniors.
A proclamation declaring the month of May to be Older Americans Month. I don't know if I'm in that category. I have a feeling I am, but I feel good. And our country is making a lot of progress, Alex. I won't tell you that, making a lot of progress.
So we're going to go to that in the when we review all the documents in the blogs. But here you have, Donald Trump here tweeting, right? The president tweeting. The only thing we got wrong is that it was even worse, the corruption, than we thought at Jim Jordan, dirty cops. This is big, folks. This is really, really big. And when you see that what was happening at the top levels of our justice system, of our justice department, of our judiciary, it's going to sicken everybody. And that's the rabbit hole that I fell into. And I'm still in federal court dealing with, well, why don't I just screen share it? I think I have it right here. You know what? I'm going to screen share this for everybody because I want you to understand I'm not just a reporter. This has happened to me firsthand, and I'm going to screen share this. Yes, I will. I'm going to do that right now. Here you go. This is what happens. Okay? You go to a town hall meeting and you become targeted because you go to the media, right? You become targeted.
My second time at a town hall meeting. And by the way, your exercise program looked good. Looking good.
We're getting there. We're getting there. As I told a middle school student came up to me and said to me, "Governor, you are getting a lot smaller." And I said to her, I said, "Well, thank you." And she goes, "When are you going to get really small?"
Can you hear this, guys?
I said to her, well, my dear, Rome was not unbuilt in a day either. So, you know, we got a little work still to do, but thank you for noticing. I appreciate it. What's your question?
After I spoke here last time about the family court, the broken family court system, I'm alleging that I faced retaliation by a superior court judge, and he took custody of my children away from me. We argued for my First Amendment right in the courtroom. He cited my appearance at a town hall meeting that was inappropriate, and somehow that posed a risk to my children. I have never been arrested. I've never had was never a drug abuser. Was never had mental health history, and I'm a graduate student, and I've had Woman of the Year awards for my work in making facial prosthetics, and I'm a published author. And I don't think I'm the kind of person that would be a risk to my children. There's no regulation in the family court system. There's no accountability. That's what we need to change. There's no regulation and there's no accountability. So that leaves room for exploitation of women. And a woman's investment in the marriage is front-loaded because of her ability to have to for reproduction. So our investment is very heavy and very front-loaded in the marriage. So an early divorce does cut a woman short in terms of these divorce courts are courts of equity, not of justice. So when you bring up issues of custody and unfit or true abuse allegations, they're not handled in a criminal court. They're handled in a family court, which has not been. They were not designed to be handled in a family court. That's not what that was for. It was for equitable distribution. So the problem is that there's no accountability. And as much as the federal government funds this, helps every single state, because this is in every state of the nation. Yep. This isn't just New Jersey. And I brought this to your attention before and your office, that there are, certainly citizens can start forming common law courts so that we can get indictments on illegal activity in the courts, because it's a real monopoly. It's a conspiracy. People are absolutely, if you want your kids back, and I know you love your kids, and I went 86 days without mine, and I will never forget that. And those were the worst days of my life. That was anguish and grief that no parent should ever have to experience. And the judge sat there and laughed because the attorneys, since my question I raised to you is about the political appointment system, and you expressed your frustration about basically rubber stamping it, and it wasn't really your appointment. And that was the comment that you had made. Yeah. The frustration is that there is no accountability. And so it leaves a lot of exploitation for women. Children are being abused, being put in the homes of their abusers. So we need regulation and we need accountability.
So I'm going to stop right there, because I know this is getting off topic in terms of the POTUS report, but it's not, because it is about the fact that there's abuse of power. We're talking about abuse of power, and this POTUS report is called abuse. This is called Justice for Abuse of Power. And I have to say that what I was explaining there at the Governor Christie town hall meeting was that I was retaliated against by a judge because I went to the press. I wasn't necessarily working in the press at the time, but I went to the press to discuss lack of due process. Now, it's a fraud. It's all a fraud on the American people. There's no justice. Gloria Allred had a quote in the movie Divorce Corp, and her quote was, "You only get as much justice as you can afford." And most people can't afford any justice. So we have a fundamental problem with what we're being told our judicial system is and how it actually operates. So we have to realize that this is not just this, if you can't afford to defend your rights, you don't have any. Is that what we're told? Is that how the Constitution should be interpreted? Okay, so I don't think so. I don't think that's what any of us believe this to be. And I will probably, for my 500th report, probably go into more detail as to share that clip and some more personal information. Oh yeah, no. I'm still fighting this. 8 years of this litigation, and it's all based on First Amendment. How can a judge take custody of your children because of, and you're standing there at a town hall meeting? I didn't know I was going to get chosen for a question, and then they retaliate against you because you asked for a redress of grievance at a public forum. Well, isn't that what our Constitution tells us we're supposed to do? Okay. So you tell me where the Constitution is. You tell me that we have a Constitution that functions. You tell me where the functional Constitution is. Because if you don't have deep pockets and if you're not well connected, you've got no Constitution. You've got no rights. So we just hope that President Trump is going to, on Law Day, how ironic, right? Really? We're celebrating this gimmick? It's a gimmick, folks. It's a gimmick just to convince you that you're free, but you're not free. And Austin Steinbart's talking about, he's been debriefed about his situation that's going on, and he's not the only one who's complaining about what happens in these federal prisons, these private prisons, right? It's like a gulag, for goodness sakes. We've lost this country, folks, but let's hope and pray the president makes the right choices for us. Exactly. Judges are not, they're administrators. They're administrators. They're not judges. You got to get them on the private side to become a judge. And we've talked about this a lot with Winston Shrout, and Winston's in the same situation. So let's move along, folks, because I don't want to get too off topic here. Okay? And lo and behold, what did we have? On April 25th, we had a joint statement by President Trump and Vladimir Putin of Russia commemorating the 75th anniversary of the meeting on Elbe, right? This was the 75th anniversary of the historic meeting between American and Soviet troops who shook hands on the damaged bridge over the Elbe River. This event heralded the decisive defeat of the Nazi regime. How ironic. How ironic they jointly put this statement out. Let's hope that this is a harbinger. Let's hope that this is a signal that the Fourth Reich, who infiltrated this country, has been defeated as well. Let's hope that that's a sign for that. Here we had wonderful photos of the week. Folks, I'm not going to go through this because there's far too much here, but please go to the blogspot, the goldfishreport.blogspot.com, and you can check out these images here. This was the video conference with the governors, with the vice president, and here you have more of the press conferences. You have more of the press briefings, and it doesn't surprise me that the president has to go to this degree, right, where he has to have these LCD screens behind him, because when the media is on the other side of him, right, looking at him from the opposite direction, and they photograph him, then the evidence, the facts are behind the president, and they can't make it up. They can't try to go back and change history, right? Because that's what they try to do. So I think it's brilliant that they're doing that, and I think they had no choice but to do it. Because the fake news media continues. Nobody's reporting on Flynn. Did you notice? Nobody's reporting on Flynn. If it wasn't for Hannity, if it wasn't for Laura Ingraham, and if it wasn't for Mark Levin, who has a program on Fox, nobody would be talking about it. They just can't stand it. The mainstream media, folks, is finally self-destructing. Finally. And we can see that it's being replaced by patriots, right? Digital soldiers, General Flynn. And so the president, I think would take General Flynn, have an interesting relationship with him once he's exonerated. I think it would be very interesting. And look at this. This is the press conference. So let's move along. They were planting a new tree. Yeah, I think I actually did screen share that. So let me just, oh, you know what? I'm not screen sharing this. I just noticed. Sorry about that, folks. Just getting all carried away. Oh my goodness, I wasn't screen sharing that. Okay, that's right. Let's move along. What's the next one? Okay, so on Monday, we have the update on coronavirus testing. So I'm going to screen share this. Having a little problem with my mouse. It's not really working that good. If you just bear with me for 1 minute, I'm going to try to get this to work a little bit better. I'm having a little trouble with it moving around. Sometimes you just have to get the dust off of, oops, you have to get the dust off of it. All right, what do we do? What do we do? Here we go. Okay, update on coronavirus testing. America has tested more patients for coronavirus than any other nation on earth. That milestone is no accident. It resulted from our federal government leading the most aggressive testing ramp up in history. Okay, so President Trump is leading a true nationwide response, not simply a government-wide. Given the scale of this global pandemic, that difference is key. So it has been a huge, I mean, the president said it's a military operation, so it's huge. Here we have, yes, as people were talking about this before in the live chat, thank you for your comments. As President Trump helps governors prepare to safely reopen our country, America is now entering its third stage in testing. This is the 3 stages. Stage 1 was the launch. It included sequencing the virus, mobilizing the private sector to develop tests, issuing EUAs quickly, and working with commercial and research labs to ramp up testing capacity across the country. Stage 2 was about scale. That meant identifying and expanding America's testing infrastructure, as well as strengthening our national supply chain to help increase production. President Trump invoked the Defense Production Act for that purpose. And stage 3 will now accelerate opening up America again. The administration is helping governors as they do their part to update testing strategies in their states. And as you know, the president has talked about that this is up to the governors, that they have put out guidelines for the governors, but the president is allowing, and as he should, the governors to do what they are elected to do, and that is to govern their own state. So the governors can't fall back on the president and can't fall back and blame the president, ask for more funding, whatever they want to do. They can't fall back on saying that, the president, they have to be accountable, that it's the president's fault that something didn't happen, because they are the ones making the decision. And I think, as we saw, we had the governor of New Jersey in the White Oval Office yesterday, the White House, and talking about, the opening up process. And, people are definitely getting very, 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 impatient. Enough is enough. And pretty soon, I think people are just going to go back to, the way of life, because I think the more and more you see videos like those hospital workers dancing around, and, Project Veritas is showing that there's, even people who are dying from the flu or dying from other purposes are just being marked as COVID. I mean, total talk about fraud. It's like these people are shameless. They're just shameless about committing fraud. Shameless, completely shameless. Like they have no recourse. They have no concept of karma. Well, we'll find out, right? So safely reopening America is just what the doctor ordered. So here we have, I'm going to keep going. You can go back to the blog and take a look at this, because we do have a lot to cover. As you know, I also don't go over in detail these long press conferences, because they're far too long. But I will, because I outline all of it in the POTUS report. So with other press releases that have come out of the White House. So it's better off this way, right? So here we have, the president is ensuring states have the testing capacity needed to safely open up America again. President Trump is releasing his administration's blueprint for state testing plans and rapid response programs, blah, blah, blah. We've heard this, right? The blueprint describes the roles and responsibilities, as well as core objectives for the robust state testing plans and rapid response programs needed by states to safely reopen. Okay, let's keep going. As we can gradually continue to open up our nation, testing will be crucial to give the American people the confidence they need to resume their economic, social, and religious lives. Okay, I guess if you want to be tested, I don't know. I don't know who they're testing. Historic testing regime. So the Trump administration has successfully scaled a robust testing regime that is regimen. Regime. That didn't make any sense, did it? That is able to meet the massive needs of nationwide pandemic. Okay. So much for my dyslexia. Okay, President Trump and his administration have responded to the coronavirus threat by scaling up the largest testing system anywhere in the world. We've already said this, folks. I'm not going to repeat it. Okay, the FDA has issued 70 emergency authorizations for new tests, including 8 for serological tests. Federal agencies, including the Department of Health and Human Services and Federal Emergency Management Agency, have surged millions of new tests and supplies to hospitals, the Indian Health Service, and other testing locations across the nation. So that's interesting. Combating the invisible enemy. President Trump has worked tirelessly to mobilize the vast resources of our nation in order to fight the coronavirus outbreak. You know, folks, I mean, they're trying to notice that the Democrat states seem to have the highest number, right? The highest number of cases, right? And so they're going to try to repress people. Now they're trying to push, notice this, right? Now they're trying to push, mail-in ballots and voting by mail. They want people to stay in their home because they don't want people to vote in the election because they're going to lose. I've said it 100 times. They have no chance in hell, of winning this election, the Democrats. They don't. Even if they last minute, that they're stalling with they're stalling with Joe Biden. There's no way on earth this poor man, and not that I say poor man, I don't mean like I feel sorry for him, but I mean, he's pathetic. He's pathetically dementia, is stricken with dementia at the very least of some kind, or some sort of cognitive disorder. He can't speak. He makes, it's like word salad. It's very, very bad. So they know they're going to switch him out, right? And it's getting worse and worse and worse, right? So they're going to switch him out. And so they're going to put in like Michelle Obama or something like that. But we'll see. We'll see what they do. Maybe they'll bring Bernie back a second time. Ernie got swindled out of his nomination, whatever. But it's fine because nobody wants to make gulags great again anyway, right? So the president, again, the supplies, I think we all know this. I've been reporting pretty much the same thing all the time. The president's doing a phenomenal job making sure everything is taken care of and everything. And, he closed down the entry to the country from China. He closed this down very early on in January, late January, and very early on to the epidemic, which was late January that we found out about. So let's keep moving. Here we have this week's political theater report with myself and Jim Fetzer, lies, damn lies, and statistics. And this is all about the COVID-19. So if you want to know more details about it, come here and you can go to the channel and watch our most recent political theater report. Okay, West Wing reads, latest round of coronavirus relief shows hardworking Americans not forgotten. No. So it's wonderful. So this $484 billion relief bill that would help America's small business was signed. So this is the 4th round of coronavirus response. Okay, so the lion's share of the funding, $310 billion, go directly to small businesses, and the administration's the PPP, which is the Paycheck Protection Program. So a massively popular program that has already dispersed $350 billion to businesses all over the country. Yeah, well, we got to open these businesses up, Mr. President. We got to get the country back to work for sure. Millions of Americans have been holding their metaphorical breath as House Democrats delay the latest round of relief with partisan demands, pork barrel spending, right? For unrelated provisions such as mandating racial and gender quotas for businesses, among other things, right? And of course, the president, you probably heard, reported that Harvard University received funding through the SBA and has to return it. President has said that Harvard has one of the largest endowments, perhaps even on the planet. Why should they get funding? So if you don't have the financial need, you shouldn't use it, shouldn't get it, right? So the 60-day immigration pause is just for people getting permanent residency. It's not for, of course, illegal is always illegal. So it's and it's only a temporary measure anyway. Let me just check in with the live chat and see how everybody's doing. Hi, everybody. Yeah, Michael Obama. Exactly. Exactly. Everybody knows. Everybody's pretty well aware of that. And you know that Jim Fetzer makes sure everybody is well aware of that fact. It's like, why hide it, right? I mean, personally, folks, I'm of the opinion that I don't really care what you do in your bedroom. I don't really care. Some people are born with both, genitals, and you don't mock them, and you don't need to put them on a pedestal. If that's the case, people's sexuality and sexual preferences is their private business. That's the way I look at it. That's my opinion. So I don't, personally, I don't go making a big deal about these things. But it's another thing to call someone a woman who's not biologically a woman. That's like fraud. So I think that's the point Jim Fetzer makes when he calls this out, is that you're calling her a she, and you're calling her, it's not a she. There's either XX or there's XY, right? Of course, if you have both packages, I guess you get to be both. But is that the case? Is it a transgender? Or, our gender is determined by our chromosomes, folks. That's what it's determined by. You might not like it, but guess what? You chose this life. You chose this incarnation. You chose this body. I don't know what to tell you. Now you're not happy with it. Okay. So, who are you blaming? You blame your parents because you identify with one gender and not the other? And I'm not making fun of it, and I'm not making light of it, but I think it's confusing people. Shoving this transgender agenda on these kids is child abuse. That's my opinion on that. You got to stop doing this to these children, because they're regretting it, and you're confusing them. And you don't, God, the children have enough to overcome in this satanic Luciferian death cult world that we're living in. You think you need to confuse them by shoving this transgender, nonsense on them? Please. Unbelievable. Let's move along. Okay, so how many people want to hear more about coronavirus? How many people? Write it down, viewers. Let me know. How much have you not heard enough about this coronavirus? Have you not heard enough about what the president's doing and what the administration's doing, and how somehow Anthony Fauci knew about this and predicted this exactly? Have we not heard enough about that? I'm trying to find something interesting to report on tonight that we haven't beaten to death already. It's let's see. Let me see what I can find from the White House, because I have to go past these extremely long transcripts. Another transcript, 2 of them in a row. It's like my finger going, scrolling. It's like I get like carpal tunnel from this. No more corona. Exactly. Thank you. I know. I'm going to try not to report on anymore. I'll be honest with you, unless there's some major news, folks. I think we've all had it. We've all had it up to here, right? No more coronavirus. God. Exactly. The laptop. Yeah. Well, let's just see what happens. Exactly. This laptop. Oh, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for justice to be served. I'm waiting for the end of this abuse of power, folks, by corrupt elements that work within our judiciary, that work within our government. It's time to drain the swamp. And President Trump, it's why I started doing POTUS reports. 170 weeks. Today is week 170, folks. I've never missed a week. I've never missed a week reporting on what this president's been doing to drain the swamp. Because when he started, I said, we're going to hold his feet to the fire, and we're going to make sure he's draining the swamp. Of course, I would still like to see, I'd like to see the swamp dwellers, I'd like to see justice. I'd like to see them held accountable for what they've done. And I think most of us would as well. So let's move along to Wednesday's Wednesday's White House. Reopening America one step at a time. Yes, we know that. I'm not going to talk about this. No. Okay. The good news is at least 25 states have released formal reopening plans or criteria as of April 24th. The rest have announced that such guidelines are forthcoming. President Trump's three-phased approach calls for governors to evaluate specific data around new cases, COVID-like symptoms, and hospital capacity in their areas before deciding on how to proceed. But I have to tell you, the president is watching. He's watching the governors, and he's going to hold governors accountable who continue to, as AG Barr has said, there are going to be lawsuits against governors if they continue to violate unreasonably, if they withhold constitutional rights of people. We'll see. Sounds good, but we'll see, won't we? We have Jared Kushner saying that the goal here is to get people back to work. Yay, Jared. We know. Let's see. Anything more on, and I'm not trying to minimize the president's hard work, dedication, and accomplishments. The immense dedication he has made to dealing with this crisis. By skipping over some of this, it's like ad nauseum. It's like all the time the same information. It's just, we know, we really know this president's done a fantastic job. We know that. I report it every week ad nauseum, right, about this whole coronavirus. And if I haven't reported enough, you can go to the blog and read everything you want to know about what the White House is doing, because it's all on the blog. Okay. And then so you have, yes, of course, we know that the economic relief, we appreciate it. We do appreciate the president extending this relief to Americans, to individuals. We appreciate that the president hasn't forgot about us. Okay, we appreciate that the president, for those who are still working or those who are still able to be paid by their employer through that Paycheck Protection Program, we do appreciate that. The president, doesn't want to see, he doesn't want all this work that he did to build this economy to be destroyed. He doesn't want it to be destroyed. I think we're going to have major changes. I think there's going to be a lot coming out of this, more than anybody can foresee, to be honest with you. So here we have the president in a meeting with the governor of Louisiana regarding ventilators, regarding their needs and things of that nature. When I only do POTUS reports once a week, it's a little bit longer because there's a lot to report on. This was a long press conference. They're talking about a lot of other things there as well. So if you're interested in Louisiana, if you're watching from Louisiana, please go to the blog and check this out. Check out look how long these transcripts are, folks. But I publish it because I want you to have that transparency. I want you to see exactly what the government's doing in terms of the president, because I only report on the president primarily, but it's all related, right? Isn't it all related in some way? That's why we do the political theater reports. So here we have President Trump showcases jobs preserved by Paycheck Protection Program amid the COVID-19 shutdown. So this is what we were just talking about, right? For people who managed to stay on the protection program, the Paycheck Protection Program, who's doing this? So let's check this out. This is something worth noting. This is something new. It's not the same old stuff, right? So this one coffee shop he's talking about. There's other ones. So coffee shop. I mean, you're really going to go to a coffee? It's okay to go to a coffee shop, but you can't go to a restaurant? Okay, I'm just saying. Okay, I don't want to keep repeating things. Here, good. Not something not to repeat about COVID, right? Trump announces judicial nominees. Wonderful news. So we have a United States District Court judge for the District Court of Southern District of Florida. Congratulations there. And another one for California. More U.S. District Court judges. We need constitutional judges. We need to restore faith in the judiciary. That's what we need to do. And the president's doing everything he can to do that. But I have to tell you, folks, this doesn't bode well for our judiciary because there's no accountability. What do we have to do? We're investigating the investigators, right? because they couldn't be trusted. Because power unchecked, folks, is abuse of power, right? Results in abuse of power. But it's the responsibility of we the people. We're the ultimate we're the ultimate checks and balances, folks. We have to do it ourselves. But when we have a Mockingbird Media who refuses to report these stories, that day that I showed you that I was at that news conference, that press conference with Governor Christie, that day I was told by NBC that what I was talking about was not their story. Oh, that's not our story. It's not our story. We're not going to cover it. It's not our story. Well, you know what? That's the problem, right? Because the people are still under this illusion, right? The people are still under this illusion that we have these constitutional rights. They're under this illusion of it. But how can you have constitutional rights when you walk into a courtroom and you are not even a live human being? You are a corporation in all capital letters. And you don't have a judge, you have an administrator. And that administrator wears a black robe because he's presiding over a dead person or a vessel or a corporation, right? It's a court, and it goes back and forth like a tennis court. That's why it's called a court, right? The argument on one side, the argument on the other side. Oh, how we have been hoodwinked. How we have been hoodwinked. Let's move along. What else do we have to share that's not the same old stories? Sorry. I am trying to stay positive. I think, this quarantine is getting to everybody. I think we're getting tired of it because all we can do is watch it. We can just watch these news conferences, listen to the, talking heads doing the analysis of it over and over and over and over again. It's like we can't go outside and go to the park, for goodness sakes. We can't go to our jobs. We can't go to our park. We can't do anything. Can't celebrate birthdays with family and friends. We can't go visit people. I mean, this is just crazy, folks. It's crazy. But the good news is we have the president who is behind protecting America's food supply. Folks, there have been reports that cattle ranchers are being told to euthanize their cattle. And we're getting meat imported by foreign countries that don't have the same USDA standards that we have for processing beef. Now, I'm a vegetarian. I don't think we should be killing them anyway. But some people eat meat, right? And so why are they killing off the food supply? Well, here the president is trying to protect this. He says, using the Defense Production Act to ensure that Americans have a reliable supply of beef, pork, and poultry during the global coronavirus pandemic. Food supply is critical infrastructure, essential to the health and safety of every American citizen. Recent actions in some states have led to the complete closure of large processing facilities, which can quickly affect meat availability in all parts of the country. Purdue had to close one because several of the employees tested positive for the COVID-19, for the coronavirus, right? The closure of a single plant can eliminate more than 80% of the supply of a particular meat, say ground beef, for an entire grocery store chain. All told, the failure to keep facilities open could force millions of pounds of meat to disappear from the market, potentially causing a long-term disruption to America's supply chain. Food supply chain, that is, right? So with President Trump's executive order this week, the Department of Agriculture can ensure U.S. meat and poultry processors continue to operate uninterrupted to the maximum extent possible. To protect worker safety, and processors will continue to follow the latest guidance from the CDC and OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health Administration, right? The United States of America is undergoing the fastest industrial mobilization since World War II. White House Director of Trade and Manufacturing Policy Peter Navarro says the president's use of the Defense Production Act is a key part of that mobilization. Yeah. And so here you have the president meeting with the governor of New Jersey, Governor Phil Murphy, in the Oval Office, discussing the state's response and its plans to open up. They talked about ventilators. They talked about New Jersey having the second largest coronavirus cases in the country behind New York, which is just across the river, right? President Trump praised Governor Murphy for doing a terrific job handling the crisis in partnership with FEMA. A big part of our ability to reopen as fast as we all want to is rapidly expanding testing, and you all literally in the here and now this week are helping us in a big way, Governor Murphy said. So that's the first time I ever reported on him, really. Okay, photo of the day. There he is in the Oval Office having this meeting. Very interesting. Okay, here it is, Proclamation on Older Americans Month. This is what the president talked about in the initial clip I shared. Okay, talking about older Americans are cherished and invaluable members of our society, deserving our utmost respect, gratitude, and admiration. During Older Americans Month, we pause to draw upon the wisdom, spirit, and experience older adults bring to our families, our communities, and our nation. We also recognize that during this time of crisis caused by the coronavirus pandemic, we can persevere and prevail by emulating the resolve, tenacity, and determination of America's more experienced individuals who have endured and overcome life's most challenging times. They sure have. So you can come here and take a look. They have sacrificed in times of hardship and took pride in a job well done. Many served honorably in our armed forces during some of the darkest times in the history of our republic. Older Americans have lived lives of service and sacrifice, bound by devotion to the sacred principles of our country. Although no one could begrudge them respite during their retirement years, having worked decades to support and grow their families and nurture their communities, many older Americans spend their time volunteering for those in need, mentoring young people, or learning new skills. Yeah, and you know how interesting, right? How this population is most susceptible. Kill them all off, right? Kill them all off so that those traditions and values die with them. So the globalists and the transhumanists can brainwash the new generation, right? And they'll have no clue what, common decency is, right? Common decency, holding the door open for someone who is weaker or more vulnerable, a pregnant woman, an elderly person, a child, right? I'm telling you today, people's faces are in their phones to such an extent they don't even raise their head up to notice this stuff anymore. It's so rude. It's so unacceptable. And to the older generation, it's like they're really sickened by it because their generation worked so hard to preserve values and traditions and things like common decencies. There's something wrong with having common decency anymore. Oh, I'll tell you, these kids today, you better pray for them because they are up against such odds and such, nefarious programming that it's going to be, God help our future. Oh my goodness. Okay, President Trump remains committed to caring for our nation's seniors during the coronavirus pandemic and beyond. So President Trump is making sure our senior citizens remain safe and have access to the healthcare resources they need during the coronavirus pandemic. In addition to the supplies we already distributed, FEMA will send supplemental shipments of personal protective equipment. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Thank you, Mr. President. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services is providing states with $81 million from the CARES Act to increase their inspections of nursing homes at this crucial time. That's good. This week, we'll be finalizing new rule requiring information about COVID-19 cases in nursing homes that are supposed to be reported directly to the CDC. Okay. This rule requires nursing homes report cases to residents and their family members. Okay. The administration is also enabling the Coronavirus Commission for Safety and Quality in Nursing Homes. Thank you, Mr. President. Delivering crucial assistance, the president and his administration are prioritizing seniors and delivering vital assistance to them during this critical time. You can go here and take a look at these other points that they make from the White House, if you'd like. It's historic legislation that provides funding and flexibility to emergency nutritional aid for vulnerable Americans, including senior citizens. And there's, of course, if seniors who are on the Social Security are also getting, their COVID-19 relief payments as well if they're already set up. That's not a problem. If you're on disability, that's not a problem. Here it is. The Department of Health and Human Services recently announced nearly $1 billion in grants to assist older adults and people with disabilities, providing services such as home-delivered meals and in-home care services. That's wonderful. And I'm so grateful to see the president addressing this vulnerable population that people just have such complete disrespect for. They're just old people, right? These kids today. Oh my God, folks, we have failed another generation. This is really bad. This Common Core program, this curriculum, we've lost it. If this is our future, we're screwed, to be honest with you. Because I know I have kids in the public school system, and I can tell you we're screwed. It's not good. It's a very, very bad curriculum. It's horrible. And now they're all learning from home. And it's very frustrating. So now they're like little cyborgs, with their computers all day long. Oh, folks, we got to get this open. But I don't think they're going to open schools up anytime soon, to be honest. I don't think so. Okay, President signed a proclamation on National Physical Fitness Month and Sports Month. Yay! There's some news not about the virus. It's wonderful. It's really wonderful. I'm glad to see the president talking about something that's so fundamental to all of our biological systems, and that is physical fitness and health, to the extent that we can. But if we go too far, we might get reported by our neighbors. This is crazy, folks. If we all stand someplace together and start talking, we'll be fined, ticketed, maybe arrested. Oh my God. So run in place, go on a treadmill, because the gyms are all closed, folks. Those aren't going to reopen probably, maybe ever. Who knows? Little petri dishes they are. Just like schools. Schools are petri dishes too. This is wonderful, talking about social distancing during the coronavirus pandemic. Regular physical activity at home can be an effective way to improve and maintain physical fitness. Yeah, so running up and down the stairs, right? There you have it. It's like using the Stairmaster, right? You got stairs, just put your earbuds in and your iPod and just, keep going up and down your stairs. Do what you can. Is that what they're saying? So Americans should strive to engage in the recommended amount of physical activity, at least 60 minutes a day of moderate to vigorous physical exercise for youths aged 6 to 17, and including aerobic activities and activities that strengthen muscles and bones, and at least 150 minutes a week of moderate intensity activity, plus 2 or more days a week of muscle strengthening activities for adults. In addition, adults 65 and older should do multi-component physical activities that include balance training, such as standing on one foot. Even as we social distance, we can do jumping jacks or push-ups, household chores, tend our lawn, gardens, and engage in numerous other activities that promote a healthy and active lifestyle. But not for people who are losing their health insurance, who are out of work, right? They can't get health insurance and things of that nature. Okay, so let's keep moving along. Yep, here's the transcript of with the governor of New Jersey. And if you want to read it, folks, you can go to the blog and take a look at it. I know I'm on screen share. Here is National Foster Care Month, folks. So this is a proclamation by the president. Families are the foundation of our communities and our country. All children deserve a stable, supporting, and loving home in which to grow, thrive, and realize their full potential. How about a good education, too? That should be in there. During National Foster Care Month, we honor the selfless men and women who open their homes to nurture at-risk children and promote healing, unification, and family-based empowerment. It's not a coincidence, Okay, so there's this rumor that all these children were being rescued from these underground tunnels. We're talking about children who were used as sex slaves, children who were being trafficked, children who never really saw even the light of day, who were being rescued, who are being treated, and who need homes. And from what I understand, there may be a call to action, folks. There may be a call to adopt some of these children and give them homes. We'll see what happens. But this is very interesting that the president has issued this proclamation just after this report of these children being rescued. And of course, we did hear of these tents being set up in Central Park. And I tend to think, because the intel that I was receiving as well, my sources were confirming that this was the case. But I wasn't able to confirm it personally, since we can't really travel much. Okay, so you can come and take a look at this as well. Sealing borders saves lives during coronavirus pandemic. More on the coronavirus, folks, as if we don't have enough to talk about. Honestly, folks, if you want to know more about it, you can just go to the blog and take a look, okay? I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything. Yeah, foster care is the biggest sex trafficking ring there is. Yeah, but there has to be some people, right? Yeah, there has to be some people who truly do take in kids. I can remember when I was younger, we took in foster kids. I mean, like almost everybody did in the 70s. Like every family did that, you know? So there were, for some reason, a lot of kids. No, I didn't say that my kids were Robert Hill Norm. I didn't say that. I didn't say my kids were that way. I'm just saying that I see it among their classmates and their friends, and I'm not so happy about this Common Core education, Robert, by the way. I'm not posting that comment because it was inappropriate and it was not relevant. Okay, so let's go on. Let's finish this with today's announcements, okay, folks? And then we're going to wrap this up because it's been a little bit longer than usual. So here we have the president, an announcement on remdesivir being approved by the FDA for the treatment of the coronavirus. Let's keep going here. Yeah. We also have the president issuing a proclamation on the National Hurricane Preparedness Week. Yeah, get ready, folks, because we're entering hurricane season. So especially if you live along the coastal areas, get ready and be prepared. Have your important documents in a box that can be easily transportable, and have your safety pack ready for if you have to evacuate or whatever. It's nice to be reminded of this. So the president is doing that. And of course, today again was Kayleigh McEnany. I think that's how you pronounce it, McEnany. Her first press conference, and I think she did a really great job. And I did screen share some of those. A moment that she had in the press briefing room today, handling the issue of the corruption of the high-level FBI with regard to the General Flynn's case. So here we have it. Okay, so the U.S. passes South Korea in virus testing as Trump unveils expanded effort. You can come and read that. Excuse me. Second round of SBA's Paycheck Protection Program processed nearly $50 billion in loans in the first 24 hours. Amazing how fast that went. Special needs employees saved by that PPP loan, thanks Trump. We're not broken, and neither is America. And the FBI's Flynn outrage. The newest Federal Bureau of Investigation documents in the case of former White House National Security Advisor Michael Flynn are stunning in themselves, but the totality of Mr. Flynn's treatment shocks the conscience. Kimberly Strassel writes, the FBI exists to investigate crimes, not create them. This is law enforcement abusing its most tyrannical power to strip citizens of their reputations, their livelihoods, and their liberty. And that is absolutely true. It's not only the FBI, it's other levels of government. It's many courts, because it's a racket. They're all working just to make money and to protect those in power. So that's the evidence, and that's I'm stating that as an observer, as someone who's observing this, as clearly an observation from the countless research that I've done, and of course being part of it. So we really need to restore our faith in our judiciary by following the law. That's all that we have to do, is follow the law, have accountability, make sure there's oversight, and have accountability. So you remove crooked cops, dirty cops, you remove crooked judges, you remove crooked attorneys, or just get rid of the whole system. I'm fine with that. Okay, and I think the president is very serious too about holding China accountable for knowing about this and suppressing the information about the coronavirus for as long as they did, and thus allowing the contact and the spread of this virus to such the extent that it has spread. So this is just a transcript I'm going to go through real quick. I'm going to pass by it, actually, not going to go through it, regarding America's seniors. This was a press statement conference, and that just about sums it up, folks. I think I kind of covered the most important highlights. I do appreciate everybody joining me and being here with me. Yes, MSM are all crimes against humanity. I agree. Thank you, Charlene. I appreciate it. Yeah, the reports, I appreciate that. I mean, I'm bringing you information from the White House. I'm backing it up with other social media commentaries. Providing my own analysis from my own experience of being at the White House. And, I'm not trying to tell anybody how or what to think. I'm just trying to present the information and actually point out some of the facts, some of the discrepancies, and, we need to stop kidding ourselves. We need to wake up from this illusion we're all living in, that we all have rights in this country. Because right now we don't have a judiciary that upholds the law, that respects the Constitution. We have nothing but politics involved in the court systems. And until they'll prove me wrong. Let the judiciary finally stop making political assassinations hit jobs of people in the courtroom. And then we'll restore our faith in the judiciary. But as it is right now, there is no faith in this judiciary, this American judiciary, the judicial system. There's no faith in this until Barr starts to restore the rule of law and restores the accountability within our judiciary. There's no faith in this. The system is going to collapse, or it needs to be redone. And maybe that's what the answer is going to be ultimately. So the American people have worked far too hard. We have been the backbone of a really global military, protecting our neighbors who haven't been even paying for it. And the president's putting a stop to that. We are paying the highest prices of prescription pharmaceuticals anywhere in the world. We're the debt slaves. We are the shorty for the globalist debt through the Social Security logging of the cattle system. Our future earnings are commoditized and traded on the stock exchange. The courts are corporations with Dun & Bradstreet ratings. Wake up, folks. Wake up. We're cattle to them. We will never be more than that unless we stand up for our own rights. It's we the people. If we fail, folks, we only have ourselves to blame. So stand up, decide what you're going to do, decide to hold the people accountable who took oaths of office to protect and swore to protect and defend our Constitution. That's an oath, right? They need to, right, the just us system, exactly. Thank you, Vishnave, exactly. All authorities are operating under Agenda 2130. See? So then we're screwed, right? People, we're screwed. We are the check and balances, though. We are. And are we going to give it away? That's the point. So watch this unfold. It's going slower than a turtle. This is the Tortuga Justice Department, right? How long do we have to listen to this? When is Comey going to be indicted for being the ringleader of this whole scam against the president and this whole sabotaging the presidency and the whole scam against General Flynn. This was the Obama administration. This was the Obama FBI. When are they all going to be held accountable? When is Justice Day? That's what I want to know. Because when they're held accountable, then I know that there's a chance that the American people might still have a chance to have justice in a court system, might have a chance to be treated as a live human being. We'll see, folks. We'll see where this goes. And I will be back next week with another POTUS report. On Monday, I will be back with the most dangerous mind in America, my friend Jim Fetzer. I will be back with Jim on Monday for another political theater, and we'll see what happens, what we'll be reporting on Monday. We will have some other special reports as we come along as well. We will be talking with, soon we will be interviewing with Patty Greer and Penny, what was her last name? Sorry. She is a physicist, a plasma physicist or plasma scientist who talks, and of course, Patty Greer, who is a crop circle, award-winning crop circle filmmaker. We'll be talking about plasma physics, which is going to be a very, very, very interesting topic, and how that's involved in the making of the crop circles. So look out for that interview. It's coming soon, folks. And for everybody else, you have a great weekend. We will be tomorrow night on Ascension Radio, so you can look for us there. I'm not sure if we're going to do a live or if we're going to do an archived report for that report tomorrow, Saturday, May 2nd at 8 p.m. Otherwise, I hope everybody has... Exactly. I'm just looking at everybody. Yes, IRS is supposed to go away. You know, the gold standard. We have a U.S. Treasury note that's trading on the back screens of Forex. I've confirmed that through several sources. The gold will end the Fed, as Q has said. Now, Q has been posting like crazy. Everybody's noticed this. So go to the Q boards and check it out. I don't think anybody needs to do a decode of Q because I think it's pretty self-explanatory at this point. I think the QAnon phenomena has gone far and wide. And, everybody can kind of figure out these posts. There's like many different levels of it. So, knock yourself out if you feel like you need to, be some sort of, decryptor, decoder. But I think that the most important messages are the ones that are very straightforward and the ones that everybody can understand in a very simple way. So we will be probably talking to Austin Steinbart again soon. He has had a very difficult time dealing with the same... It was like what he was describing was like being put in a gulag. Honestly, I couldn't believe it. But thank you, Karen. You sent me the JFK petition through Twitter. Yeah, everybody, call out for the release of the redacted JFK files. Unredact those files, and let's find out who is really behind the shadow government. COVID is in the meat. It might be. So I'm glad I'm really a vegetarian. Yeah, I will be doing a follow-up too on my gardening video that I published, which is not going very well at all. So, but we will be back to do a follow-up on that. And, look, we only learn through our mistakes, right? We learn through our mistakes. So I figure I'm learning a lot because I'm making a lot of mistakes and I don't necessarily have the right formulas worked out yet, but I will. I certainly will. I will keep trying. So everybody have a great night. Thanks for being with me. I appreciate you joining me. I know this was a long POTUS report. There was a lot to talk about. I do like to try to do them midweek, but some weeks I can't get it done. I'm extremely busy. So believe it or not, I am. So it's very difficult to try to, yes, of course, Austin, angered them. I mean, they're controlled by the deep state, most of the courts, right? So, they're gonna roughhouse him. They're going to, and they are, they're going to strong arm him, and that's what they're doing. And they do that to anybody who works in the media, right? So, folks, let's hope we can have some faith restored in our judiciary. Let's hope that the people who are working in the judiciary must know and must see that there needs to be a better future in this country, or they themselves and their families are not going to benefit. They're not going to do well either. If our families are not going to prosper, nobody's families are really going to prosper either. So we either restore truth and integrity in our judiciary, or it's time for the people to take matters in their own hands. I don't know. I've said this in like every single report. Folks, if you like the report, please give me a thumbs up. So I appreciate that. That does help the video circulate a little bit better. So I do appreciate that. Give me a thumbs up, please. And post this video far and wide, because, the censorship, as I reported last week, our friend Kuila Pelle's blog was deleted. So by WordPress, it was censored. So it's don't be surprised. There's probably going to be more censorship. So hang in there, everybody. We'll see you next week. Have a great weekend. And this concludes this edition of the GoldFish Report. Thanks for viewing.